Hey friends, it's Danielle, and straight up, I was about to record an episode about Uranus today, but honestly, the world just feels like there is enough going on, enough people dissecting and depicting the patterns and all of the different elements and iterations of our existence. And I thought, you know what? Let's just do something on the lighter side. Let's talk about something that just makes you want to sit back, pour a nice little glass of wine, and just exhale. And so one of the things that came up for me was my passion for, of course, astrology, but then also wine, and how I kind of started noticing that I'm drawn to wine from certain regions. And then when I incorporated my astrocartography, it clicked. And not only did it click from the spaces of the wines that I favor, it made a lot of sense for wines that I naturally don't gravitate to, or wines that I used to reach for in a difficult time of my life. Now, when we unpack all of this, of course, it'll be more with the intention of wine, and I say this with drink responsibly, please. And it can also be for non-alcoholic beverages. It can even relate to foods from that area. So let's get into Vino and the Astro line, shall we? So one of my favorite tools in my astrology bucket is that of astrocartography, which is essentially locational astrology. What we're doing is we're taking your birth chart from the moment that you arrived into this world, and we are placing it over a two-dimensional map. And in doing that, we're looking to see where the planets correspond with certain regions of the Earth. And based on that, you can decide where are good places to live, to travel, to relocate, to go to school, to have your honeymoon, all of those different aspects, to build a second home. It's very helpful information in establishing where you should migrate, because at the end of the day, we are nomadic creatures, and astrocartography gives us more intel into where it is that we may desire to dwell and create community next. However, that's not always available, and that's okay. And whether you've lived and grown up in the same spot forever, or you move around a lot, or you've been thinking about a move, or maybe you're in a space where I'd love to, but it's just not available right now, this is where astrocartography can still work in your favor. So in addition to using it as a way to figure out where to physically go, you can also use it as a compass in understanding what culture, what food, what wine, what types of personas you may be drawn to without actually going there. For example, I had a client recently where we were moving through her chart and we were looking to see where her Venus line was. And the primary location for it was in southern Italy. Now, Venus is our planet of romance, relationship, love. Well, don't you know that where her Venus line ran was the location where her now husband was born. And she had never gone there. She didn't go there to meet him. She didn't have to travel to her Venus line. Her Venus line came to her. They met organically through friends where they live in Arizona. So it doesn't have to be so literal. We can take it in a non-linear way. And a fun way for us to do that is wine. And I kind of came to this understanding of it through my own investigation. So wine has been around for a really, really long time. I didn't actually look up how long it's been around, but we've been cultivating grapes and fermenting them in such a way that creates an experience for people. It is used as a sacrament. It is used as celebration. It is used as a social construct. It is used to complement a meal. It is medicine. It is devotion. It is a way to have a different sensation of self. And so when we look at this elixir, knowing where it comes from, of course, from the space of the biodynamics and the diversity of the region and the land and the soil and the growers and the individuals that own the winery, etc., are very important. What if we were to look to see what the astrology of that land was in particular for you? Because that can truly make a difference. Just like why is it, astrology aside, you favor some wines over others? Why is it that you like a really nice, bold Malbec from Australia, but then you wouldn't entertain one from South America? Why is it that you enjoy Chardonnay from Northern California, but then when you have a French Chardonnay, it doesn't land for you? Why is it maybe that you only like rosé? Perhaps it's because of its origin. And so what I find with astrocartography, most of the times when I do sessions with individuals, the locations that they have in mind, places that they've already expressed, I love it here, it feels like home, there's something about it. More often than not, there is some good juju astrologically running through it. So their intuition and the feeling and the sensation that they had in these locations confirmed what the astrology expands for the individual. And so same with the wine as well. And so you can look and see, okay, these are regions that I love the taste of and I feel intuitively drawn to when I'm standing in the store and I'm looking at all the different bottles. Why am I reaching for one in particular? And it also could be the label, the artistry, things of that nature as well. But if we're looking at it from an astrological sense, most of what we come to know around astrology originally stemmed from our intuition. Astrology is an intuitive science. So same goes for this as well. So when we look at it from this perspective, what we're doing is we're not only drinking wine from a particular region, which is a beautiful thing if you think about it. How amazing that on a Friday evening, by the way, Friday is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about beauty, sensuality, wine. And how amazing that you could on a Friday evening sit back in your home in upstate New York and enjoy a beautiful Rioja from Spain. And not only are you allowing yourself to taste the notes and the flavors of the wine itself, you are able to think about the actual land, the soil, the climate, the hands that made this possible. You can also extend it to the person that you're with if you're having a glass of wine with them, the restaurant you're in. It all weaves a story in such a beautiful framework. So the main planet that governs wine, like I said, is Venus. So basically, how you look at your astrocartography map is you're going to go to astro.com. Once you go to astro.com, you're going to set up a free profile. You can do the paid. I prefer that. I believe it's under $20 a year. But regardless, you set up your account, and then once you do, you're going to scroll down the homepage to an area that says Astro Click Travel. When you pull that up, you're going to see your two-dimensional map, and you're going to see a lot of lines and bubbles. Those bubbles are known as zenith points. That's the origin point of the planet when you were born. From those zenith points, we have lines that track where the planet's energy goes throughout the world. So what you want to do is you want to look for the dark green line. The dark green line will have the Venus symbol at the top of it. It's a circle with a cross underneath. Anywhere where that dark green line is, or that dark green bubble, those are going to be areas that exhibit Venetian qualities. And so if you look and see, oh, I truly love wine from Tuscany, and you see that freaking Venus runs through Tuscany, boom, we have a match, my friends. When it comes to wine, Venus really wants you to savor it. It's meant to be sensual. It's meant to really focus on the taste, the origin story. It's not meant to be rushed. So when you are drinking wine from your Venus line, or let's say you're actually drinking wine on your Venus line, really focus on savoring it, focusing more on the quality and the texture over how much, the quantity. It really is quality over quantity when it comes to wine with Venus notes to it. It might be a place where you do a nice tasting flight and you get to enjoy and sample the different types. Or once again, you just have one glass, but you really make it clear that you are going to be present while you drink that glass of wine. So Venus is our number one line to either, if you're living on your Venus line and you're drinking wine from a Venus region, whether it's that line, let's say you live in Southern California, or maybe not Southern California, but let's say you live in Central California, like right outside of Santa Barbara, and that's your Venus line, and you're drinking wine from vineyards that are nearby. Ooh, what a beautiful Venusian whammy, my friend. So you're going to feel that more so. Or if you want to bring in those qualities of Venus from an area that you can't get to, buy the bottle of wine and do it that way. But again, the wine is meant to be savored, meant to really be witnessed and really tasted. Tasted, is that a word? Tasted. It's meant to be that thing that people do with their tongue when they drink the wine. When they're like, they do that little like suckly thing. I don't do that usually. And one thing that I'll say, well, no, we'll get into my story in a moment. Let's keep going through the planets. So that's Venus. Venus is like, relax, take your time, and please, my love, don't get drunk, because Venus is the goddess. Venus is the woman who has it all together. She would never put herself in a position where she was out of control. And so she is not going to become intoxicated by the wine, but amused by it, enamored by it, enhanced by it. Now, Jupiter, that's another favorable energy. However, Jupiter, you do have to watch out for a little bit too much, because Jupiter's all about expansion. It's about celebration. It's about feasting. It's about having a good freaking time. So wine that comes under that line from that vine is going to be like, hey, let's like fill it up to the rim, baby. And I mean that once again in a responsible way, but it really does cultivate the energy of enjoyment, being reminded of fun and what life has to offer. Even when let's say you pull a wine from your Jupiter line, let's say the wine is from Porto in Portugal, thinking about like, if I were to be there right now, what would I be doing? And tap into that. And then what that does is it expands your being. It expands your mind. It expands possibility. It allows things to actually manifest in your favor. It raises your awareness to things outside of your everyday life. And so when we incorporate Jupiter, that's what we're doing. So we just want to watch out for, know your limit, designated driver, please, and do take time to taste it a little bit. Don't just chug it. Then we have the moon, Mama Moon. That's the line I currently live on. And I actually am going tomorrow to Fredericksburg, Virginia. I'm actually taking my first, 36 hours off all to myself. I realized since my birthday, I have not taken time for myself, where I've been completely removed from work and social media and showing up and being on. And my dog has currently been having a lot of health issues lately, and I'm happy to do it, but I've been really caring for her nonstop. And a friend of mine reached out and was like, hey, do you need a break? She's like, do you want me to watch Zara and her and Zara like love each other. She's like, do you want me to watch Zara for a night? Like, I would love to watch Zara for a night and have some Zara love all to myself. And at first I was like, all right, well, I'll let you know. Like, I don't have anything planned, but I'll let you know. And then it was like, yeah, I don't have anything planned. I actually don't have anything on the calendar. And why not? Why not? Oh, that's good. boom. Okay, so I was like, you know what? Let's do something. So it's about an hour and a half away from Austin, so it'll still be considered my moon line. And I've been before. I went one time a few years back, but I kind of just drove through for the day. So I've never really spent a weekend. And I think it's grown a lot since I've been. I think the last time was in the spring of 2021. So they have a lot of wineries. They actually have one which, oh, bless it, it's called Winery. Like there's rhinoceroses there, which then made me think, though, I guess these rhinoceroses are native to Texas, which then makes me think about the connection of the ley lines that run from continent to continent. So I do believe that a lot of our continents were more smushed together. So Africa was definitely more conjoined with North and South America. And that's a conversation for another day. However, all that to say, if that's the case, wouldn't it make sense that certain wines that like if you like California wines, then it's very likely that you would like wines from North Africa, because that line runs through, that ley line continues into that field, that hemisphere. So that's something kind of cool to play with too, outside of the astrology of it. If you were to follow the latitude of certain regions, do they run parallel? Do certain areas where wine is more populated actually kind of run an invisible line around the world and connect each other? So that's a cool thought in and of itself. All that to say, Fredericksburg apparently has a lot of wineries. We shall see what I think of Texas wine. I don't think I've ever actually tried it before. But it would be interesting to have some wine from my moon line and give myself that opportunity to just be present. And I'm not looking to get intoxicated, so I'm going to take on a little bit more of that Venus approach and just enjoy and give myself full permission to just relax. All that to say, that's what the moon is about, from the space of let your emotions take hold. Give yourself a chance to feel. The moonlight is about, how do you feel? How do you want to feel? What are you not feeling? Emotion is just energy in motion. Where is that going right now? The moon also is all about biodiversity in the soil. The moon also holds a lot of the memory that our earth has. The roots of a tree, or the plants, the seeds, are governed by the moon. The moon also governs our lineage, our ancestors, so we can really tap into individuals that have cultivated the land for us to allow it to be open and available to continue to cultivate wine. So moon is another great one from that perspective. And then the sun. Clearly the sun is what allows the harvest and the growth and the ripening and the vitality. The sun is also all about recognition and being seen. So drinking wine from your sun line is great when you are having a party, you are celebrating an achievement, you want to feel more expressed. You need a little bit of a confidence boost. Look, I'm not knocking if you need a little liquid courage. I say a little, but it is called liquid courage, which is kind of sunline energy. So that connection could work really well from that perspective. Now, further, when you're looking at your map and you're looking to see how they all correspond with each other, the most favorable ones are lines that are on your AC line. So you're going to see the planet, and then you're going to see two initials. If you see AC, that means it is making a sacred angle to your ascendant. Ascendant is all about you, how you're showing up, how you're rising, how you interact with others. So wine from your AC line is the best. So if you can get a wine from your Venus AC, that's gold. I'm going to be going to, so right now I live on my moon AC. So I'm going to go to a winery on my moon AC to go do a little little solocation for one night only. And I feel like that's going to be a nice pairing from that perspective. DC would be the next in line because that's all about relationships. So enjoying a glass of wine with someone. So if you see let's say you're going on a third date with someone and you're going over to their place for dinner and you're going to bring a bottle of wine. Bring Venus DC line wine from the vine if you can. That would be spectacular. So bringing in that relationship energy. If you see IC, that's more home family. So that could be great for a reunion, a wedding, celebration of that kind. And then MC is work. So let's say you're hosting like a happy hour for your employees. Let's pull, if you really want to get wild, pull your Jupiter MC. And that's going to be a party. If you want to be a little bit more tame, you just want to honor and acknowledge everyone. You want your Sun MC. See how it all kind of starts to play together and you get to have a lot of fun with it and you can lean into the different dynamics. I'm going to be hosting a cosmic happy hour myself this February, Friday the 13th. If you're a subscriber of my Substack, it's completely free and we'll be actually looking at the map. So I'm going to go deeper into this technology. I'll share more about what the different planets mean outside of the 4 that I mentioned. So if you're listening in real time and you're able to join us on Friday the 13th, which is a mystical, magical, beautiful, power of the feminine embodiment kind of day, you can come with your own glass of wine. You can ask questions. We'll explore, we'll research all of it. It'll be really fun. So all you have to do is subscribe to my Substack, and the link is in the show notes. So let's talk about my journey with wine. So I just talked about how I'm going to go to my Moon AC winery this weekend and give myself, for the first time since my birthday, 6 months ago, and it's actually going to be my half birthday on Monday Moon Day. Ooh, Monday Moon Day is going to be my half birthday. So it's kind of an interesting milestone because I spent my birthday, which was a full moon in Aquarius actually, in the area where I was born. So I was born outside of Seattle, Washington. I was born on my Saturn line. And I only lived there for a couple weeks. Saturn line is a little bit more intense. It's not always the place that is the vibe where you want to live. Probably not the place you want to drink wine from per se, because it's really about karma and challenges. And yes, it can be about overcoming those challenges and releasing said karma, but it may not be the influence that you're looking for. All that to say, I was born outside of Seattle, Washington, lived there for a couple of weeks. Then my family quickly moved to Portland, then moved back up to Seattle. And apparently my mom would take me to this one winery called St. Michel, Chateau St. Michel, I want to say. And we would like feed the ducks. And I don't remember it because I was like 2 years old. Then we moved down to California. This is all my Saturn line, mind you. And I was born on my Saturn line while my mom was going through her Saturn return, and we were moving around a lot. So it was definitely that friction, Saturnian energy that I was talking about. But I was going to be in town for a family wedding, because again, Saturn's family. I was in town for a family wedding the weekend prior. So I was like, you know what, let me extend it and be in Seattle on my birthday under the full moon in Aquarius. And I kind of just ignored the Saturn part because I was like, I don't really want to think about that. I got this. I'm an astrologist. I do this for a living. I can go to my Saturn line. I'll be fine. I was not fine. You know how many things went wrong on that trip? From the Airbnb that my brother booked for us, being booked on the wrong week, so we had nowhere to stay, from being held in customs when I tried to go up to Vancouver. Just, you name it, it seemed to happen to me. And yes, you could say it was happening for me, but it felt like it was happening to me. There were some blessings and beautiful things within it as well, and some realizations and whatnot, but it was a lot more intense than I wanted it to be, especially because I was looking for it to be a really fun birthday trip. All that to say, I did decide to go. Well, I didn't decide. It kind of was decided for me. So on my birthday, a band that I really, really love called My Morning Jacket was playing at Chateau St. Michel Winery on my freaking birthday under the full moon. So I was like, I have to go. But you know what's so interesting? I didn't drink the wine there at all. I didn't drink any of the wine. I think I wound up getting like a like some kind of like slushy drink. Now, granted, I was by myself. I rented a car. I had an early flight the next day, and I'm very mindful about my drinking, which we're going to talk about why in a moment. So it's so interesting, but I didn't want to drink the wine from there. I didn't want the energy of Saturn. I returned to a place that had memory for me under the full moon, which is very much that assignment. But because of the Saturn energy, I did not feel called to actually participate in the liquefaction of that region, of that land. And I feel that way with a lot of California wines. I used to say, like, I pretty much stopped drinking wines from California. I want to say I stopped in like 2020, 2021, 2022. And a lot of it's unfortunately because of the fires and just some of the energetics that are going on there. It was like, that's not really what I want to consume. And so I just kind of left it at that, not really making the connection to it being my Saturn line. However, when I started to look at this more closely, I realized something around my Saturn return. So right before my Saturn return, I was not in a great place in my life. This was 2008 into 2009. Wasn't doing so hot. Was playing with a lot of escapism, wasn't taking care of myself, no idea what my future held. I was working as an admin for a law firm, and I was really just day by day by day. And during that time, I pretty much was drinking and just consuming things that weren't great for me. My favorite thing to consume, and it would be a bottle at a time, at least one bottle a night, wines from my Saturn line, Californian wines. Part of it was familiar because my dad really loves California wines, and I honor that about him. He doesn't just drink California wines, but he loves wine in general. He's very he's grown to really love it, and it's become even more of a part of his lifestyle. And being in retirement, he studies it. He does all the things. Him and my mom are actually going on a trip to South Africa, and they're excited to explore the wines there. So wine has always been a way to connect to my father, which is very Saturn, and my dad likes California wines most, and that is my Saturn line. So that makes sense in and of itself. And then what's interesting is when right before I was getting ready to go through my Saturn return, and Saturn return is going to halt you and stop you and make sure that you are not continuing your future in a way that isn't a representation of what your soul wanted you to accomplish in this life. I was going through California wines like you wouldn't believe. Kendall Jackson, I loved. Bogle. I don't remember it because, again, I don't really drink the California wines anymore. But I had my faves. And it's really interesting that it was basically hitting my Saturn return, and it was pretty much to the day that my Saturn return started that I realized I needed to be sober, that I realized I needed help. I wound up going to rehab after work. I wound up getting a therapist. I went to AA, and I quit drinking, and I quit for a really long time. And I remember, and this is my unique circumstance, I do not say this to sway anybody. Please do what works for you. And I so honor anyone's commitment and journey with sobriety. But I remember thinking in that window when people would talk about their addiction and being an alcoholic, I remember thinking, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm lost and I'm confused and I'm escaping. And I need to figure out how to stop doing this. Because at the time I was also binge eating as well. So I was like, I need to understand why I don't know my limits, and I need to understand why I want to escape so hard. And I said to myself, there will be a day you'll drink again, but it's not because you're downing a bottle of wine alone by yourself. It's because it's one glass, and it's because you're celebrating the fact that you're living your life in a way that feels aligned. You somehow mastered how to move on and take care of yourself. And yeah, it wasn't until, I don't remember. It kind of just happened organically that I decided to integrate wine back into my lifestyle, but it was very sparingly, and it had rules. And the rule was you don't drink by yourself, you don't ever have more than 2 glasses, and you never drink in desperation. You only reach in celebration. You reach because it just makes sense in this moment. It feels good to pour a glass of wine with this friend. This meal really is highlighted even more by these grapes. I'm visiting a vineyard and I am talking to the owner and how lit up they are about the cultivation process. Those are the moments where I have a glass of wine. It's never because I want to escape or I want to hurt myself or I'm having a bad day and I just want it to go away. That doesn't work for me. I haven't done that and I won't do that. So Saturn taught me how to drink responsibly, if you will, and not need it per se, but I am the type of person that if you tell me no, I have a harder time restricting it as opposed to you saying, yeah, you can have it. Just find a way that works for you. That seems to be the sweet spot. So I honor that. That's what helped me with my binge eating as well. Once I told myself, yes, you can have anything within reason, it was like, oh, well then, okay, cool. Just like changes the dynamic on so many levels. So then I also got curious around if I'm not leaning into wines that my father chose, if I'm not feeling drawn to California because of the land dynamics, what do I want? And that's when I started developing more of an interest in Sauvignon Blanc, which is from New Zealand. I really got into reds from Chile in South America. And then when I looked at my map, I saw, oh, my sunline, and let's see, I'm going to actually pull up my map right now. My sunline I see runs through New Zealand. So when I have a glass of it, it actually makes me feel like I'm at home. South America is my Venus, and it is my Venus AC. So that's ideal to have anything from the more western region of South America. It also does run up through like the Carolinas. And I know I've been to wineries in like Asheville or Western North Carolina, and they're okay. I just think that's kind of a matter of like, meh, to each their own. It doesn't necessarily always mean you're going to like how the wine tastes, but what I will say, gorgeous to be up with beautiful friends in the mountains, eating charcuterie and looking at beautiful views. And I didn't know if I said that right. Charcuterie. My one friend calls it charcuterie. Getting my charcuterie on my Venus line. Another region that I fell in love with the wine was Portugal. I basically traveled from north to south, and that is my sun line as well. That's also MC, and the reason why I got to go to Portugal was because a work opportunity allowed me to do so. My Venus line also runs through northern Italy, and I really loved spending time in that region and the reds from there. Love. South of France is a mix of my moon to Venus, and I so want to go to south of France. That's probably where I'm going to go next. To be able to experience Venetian and lunar wines in the south of France, there's just something so romantic to me without having gone. Provence and getting on a bike and going down to the market and filling my basket with a bottle of wine and bread and cheese. Makes me want to cry. I just, when I look to if I have any Jupiter wines that I like. And I've also been getting more so into South African wines. That's my Neptune, which I do need to be mindful of because Neptune can be escapism, illusion. So you want to be careful of wines from there. Actually, it's kind of funny because the other day I was at Central Market, which is like a popular grocery store here in Texas, and I was like, oh, I want a South African red. I want a Syrah. I don't normally love Syrahs, but there's a place here in Austin called, I want to say it's called Cape Town or Cape Room. It's called Cape Room. It's in Austin, and they have South African wines. If the bartender Mimi is working, adore her. I guessed her sign. She's Gemini, and she's fabulous. And I did a tasting there, and I really loved her selection so much, and I have not been able to duplicate it myself. So at Central Market, I'm in the South African section, and there was a bottle of organic Syrah, and the label had like a it wasn't a birth chart, but it kind of looked like that. It was like a celestial looking circle, and I was like, I think I want to do this. I wasn't 100% sold on it, and the one that I wanted was sold out, so I was just like, all right, let's just do it. So anyway, I take it home, and I go to just give it a little try. And I open it up and I pour the glass, and I love to smell the wine. I love to just take in the aroma. And I'm like, ooh, this smells like funk. Like, this smells funky. This smells kind of like poopy. I was like, this is weird. But like, me being me, I'm like, I'm still going to try it. So I go and take a sip. Oh my gosh, it had gone bad. It was like the skunk wine. It was like fizzy and really, really wonky. And so now I'm not surprised seeing that it's my Neptune. Okay, but where I wonder if I've ever had any Jupiter wines. Okay, my Jupiter, it doesn't really run through wine-friendly places. Like, can I get a nice glass in Milwaukee? I don't know. So what you can do in these cases too, though, again, it doesn't have to be wine. It could be kombucha. It could be a beer. It could be water distilled from there. It could be, like I said, food. So you just get to play. And that's what we're going to do in my happy hour on Friday the 13th. I hope you can join in real time. And I would love to know how it connects the dots for you. It's just a way to look at the lighter side of astrology. Sometimes it can feel really intense or erratic or extreme. And it's like, yes, it can be those things. And the point of astrology is to raise awareness so you can grow into your best self as your soul intended and have fun along the way. And this is one of those moments to do just that. So cheers, my love.